Let's call this meeting to order. Welcome to the Millbrae School District meeting. Could everyone please join me for the flag salute? Dennis, would you lead us?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. This is our first meeting of 2019, so welcome. Our president, Lynn Ferrario, is not here today, unfortunately. She had a pre-planned vacation, and so, Lynn, if you're watching, I know you're not, but hopefully you're sitting somewhere by the pool having a Mai Tai on me. Anyway, so you're stuck with me running the meeting, so welcome. This meeting is being televised and recorded for the transcription of the minutes. This meeting will be replayed on MCTV Channel 27 on Saturday, January 12th at 11:30 a.m. and the following Monday, January 14th at 3:30 p.m. At this time, speakers wishing to address the board this evening should turn in the completed speaker card to the board secretary. At this time, we don't have anything to report, any action items from the closed session. Before we approve the agenda for tonight, is there any items that anyone would like to discuss? No? All right, so I need a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carried. Okay. Updates, department updates. Ms. Anita Alderais, can you please give us an update on the student services?
Is this on? Okay. Good evening, Board of Trustees. I'm very happy to give you this update tonight, and it's about our partnership with Mills High, and they have a program that I called Burlingame University, and it's been created by the Mills High School Youth. I'm stumbling, I'm sorry. But anyhow, to teach vocational and independent living skills for their students with a disability age. Actually, I think it starts before 18. Some of them are 15 to 21. And it's a way of hands-on preparation for independent adult living. And we are the lucky recipients of having 8 students come each week, and they do a number of valuable jobs, such as shredding, cleaning, landscaping. They developed a new job today, or did a new job today, which was preparing outgoing mail by in the labels, folding, stuffing. And part of it is the job skills, but part of it is learning what it is to be in a work environment and the social expectations. And so we have our landscaping service here. And here's one of the shredders. And there's always so much shredding, so it's quite valuable. And then he's training one of the other students on shredding. We have kitchen cleanup, Taylor cleanup crew, and we want to thank Burlingame University for providing us with such valuable services. That's it.
Quick question.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Question.
Why is it called Burlingame if it's Mills?
I don't know, but that's what was on their brochure.
Okay.
Unless I really misread something.
It's their name? Okay.
It's the name.
So is that is that just Mills or all the schools, high schools
No,
are doing
it
the
is.
same thing? Just
It
Mills?
is a class at Mills,
Okay.
or a combination of classes at Mills that are the students are learning more functional skills, but this is part of it. Fits in with the curriculum, and they developed a program to teach them community-based instruction, so going to the store, going to the bank, as well as work skills.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
So is this the county district?
No,
Where did this generate from?
Mills High School and the San Mateo Union High School.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, not the
Unified
county
school
program,
district. Yeah.
but the high school district.
Good. Yeah. Good.
The ages all range from freshmen to seniors, and
Yes. Well, students, these students are typically on a certificate of completion, so they are entitled to go to school through their 21st birthday.
okay.
So after 18, usually there's more focus on vocational skills and independent living, but it is important to start that as early as possible.
That's good. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Ms. Claire Beltrami, Educational Services Update. Can you?
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Cabinet, viewers here, and also at home. Tonight I'm going to be doing an update on our California State Dashboard. So this is the California Accountability System that has taken the place of, some of you might remember, program improvement, when they look at schools, different points, and they try to make a justification if a school is actually performing at the standards set by the state of California. This is the rubrics that they're using. So there are 6 state indicators that I've explained to you prior to this that get a color donation, so they can go from red to blue. Since we're an elementary district, we are only focusing on the 4 that are highlighted here with the blue arrows. Those are the only ones that are accountable for us being K or TK8. The local indicators are self-reflection tools, which we bring to the board through presentations to show that we're in compliance with the local indicators. So the dashboard is just really going to be containing the 4 areas that have been highlighted with the blue arrows. So the way that the new dashboard looks is it's no longer the Trivial Pursuit puzzle pie. They've changed it into the gas gauge. So the colors go from red to blue, blue being the highest, red being the lowest, and the gauges are represented as demonstrated on this slide. Green is the target. So green is where their expectations for all of our students to be at. Red and orange means that there's work that we need to do. So our Local Control Accountability Program, our LCAP, is responsible for closing the achievement gap within student data. So not only does the state look at overall student progress, they're also looking at specific student groups within our district that have the higher number counts. So there's a certain number of students that therefore makes it a group that we're accountable for. And in our district, I believe we have 9 groups of students that we have to report back on, that we're held to that accountability. The achievement gap is designated for the dashboard as being 2 color scans away from all students. So for example, if our students are overall performing at the green level, but we have student individual groups such as English language learners performing at red, or students with disability performing at orange, that's an indicator that they're more than 2 levels below all of our students. So we would have to, therefore, through our local control accountability plan, put in programs and services to support those students so that we can close that achievement gap and that they can also be performing as all of our students overall are performing. The new title to this, it's no longer called Program Improvement. It's called Differentiated Assistance, Identification, and Process. So this is the time that they look at the dashboard at the county level and they make a recommendation if the school district is doing what we're supposed to be doing in order to support all of our learners. And if you're not, you have so many groups that are falling below more than 2 levels, you enter into this process with the county and they're expected to come out and support those districts. I'm happy to say that Millbrae has not been identified, so we're not getting the county support in this area. But as we go through some of our data at the dashboard, you'll see that there are some areas that we still need to work on. So this is the Millbrae Elementary results. If you get this electronically, you can click on the different things here to get to the results. But in the red, I highlighted where you can go on the internet in order to access our dashboard. This dashboard comes out for all schools in California at the beginning of December. So this is the information that was posted about a month ago. So the first page that you'll see for Millbrae is the overall look of the dashboard for those different indicators. There's the 4 chronic absenteeism, suspension rate, English, language arts, and mathematics, because those are the tests from the state and those are the ones we're being held accountable for. And as you can see on this, our indicators are green and blue for the most part, except for the one chronic absenteeism, which is in orange. But I wanted to bring this to your attention. The reason why we're in orange, and this is on the dashboard, the way that the dashboard designates colors for these different indicators, it's a change status. So you have your baseline from the previous year, and then they look at the current year, and that change is where they give you the indicator colors. Mm-hmm. So if you've got growth, you have a higher indicator. You might have green or blue. If you have a decline, then you'll be either in orange or red. For our chronic absenteeism, our data was incorrect for the baseline. So the year that they took that baseline data, we had problems with our CalPads, and it showed that we had 0 chronic absenteeism, which the state identified as not being possible. That meant that every single student was in school less than, and not absent for more than 10% of the school year. It's usually normal to have schools and students absent at least under 10% or so. And we had 0. So then when they looked at the current year, it just put us all as showing a decline, because then we had numbers in all of our groups that showed we do have chronic absenteeism. So it's not really being reported accurately, and I think that's one of the reasons why the state's not really looking at our data in this area for this dashboard. It should be corrected next year.
So, Claire, what we're seeing here is it's a comparative representation between last year and this year.
Well, actually, this for chronic absenteeism, it's 16-17 and 17-18.
And how about the other categories?
The other categories are the same, 16-17 and 17-18, okay, because we're in this current year, so there's no current data for this year. Okay. It's always the prior year and the year before that.
Okay, that's good to know, because someone looking at this might think it's a snapshot and not a comparative piece of data. So, okay.
That's correct. So suspension rate, this is when you drill down into the dashboard, you can click on all of the different indicators and they give you more and more details. For the suspension rate, you can see all of our students are overall in the blue, which is the highest indicator that we can be at. But when you go down to the next level, it has it broken into the student groups. So you can see each of the colors is represented across the screen. And in the red, we have no student groups identified for that color. But in orange, we have homeless and Pacific Islanders that are in, that means that those students have dropped or they're being suspended more between the 2 years. And in the yellow, we have our white student group. So that means that those students have either increased or maintained at a high level. Those groups are 2 colors below the overall group, so that's going to mean that we need to look at what's happening with those student groups, why they're getting more suspended than our overall color, which is blue, which indicates that we don't suspend many students in Millbrae, which is really good news. In the green, we have the Filipino, Hispanic, the social economic and disadvantaged youth, and students with disabilities. And then in the blue, we have the Asian, English learners, or 2 or more races. And those are all of the groups that we have represented here in Millbrae. Yes?
So within these groups, could a single student be in 4 different groups?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
So how would that translate into the statistics? If there's one student who's Filipino and Hispanic,
Homeless and social economic, they could be in that number each time.
Okay, so that would that skew the...
No, because what the state of California is saying is that we need to look at that individual in all those different areas and find out why, how we're supporting them for all those different areas.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. Good question. For the academic performance, we have the Smarter Balance. So these are the students that were tested in 3rd through 8th grade for English language arts and mathematics. The English learner progress is new this year because we just did the new testing. We've moved away from CELT, and we're now using the new California assessment for language proficiency, which is called the LPAC. But we only have 1 year of data for that since last year, 17-18 was the year that we initially tested all of our students. So the data you see here for English language learners is just what happened last year. There's no comparison. That's why there's no gauges, because to get a gauge, we need to have the comparison. For English language arts, you can see that overall our students scored in the green indicator, but if you scan down to the bottom of that document, you can see that we have 4 groups in orange, 2 groups in yellow, 2 groups in green, and 2 groups in blue. So since this has so much information, if you're on the website, you can click on those colors and that will tell you what the groups are. But for the purpose of this presentation, I just wanted to show you that there are groups in those colors also. So those would be the colors that I would look at to see who's 2 levels below the overall green. So anybody who's in orange or red, we need to look at and see how we can better support them in the area of English language arts. And the same thing happens with math. We also overall are in the green performance for all of our students. But if you look at orange, we have 5 groups that have scored in orange, which means they're 2 levels below. So we need to look at those 5 groups. I don't have that information right at my hands here, but we're going to need to look and see how we can better support those groups of students so that we can close that achievement gap between the overall all students and what they're doing in this area of math. We have 2 groups in yellow, 1 group in green, and 2 groups in blue. So our next steps, we're going to continue to analyze our student data. We're going to be holding principal study sessions. We're doing LCAP reviews with all of the school sites in order to let all of our stakeholders know exactly what's going on with the dashboard and how we are going to address the needs that are being identified through the dashboard. Are there any questions?
I guess the only way to get the details of it is you really have to go into the website. You can't just have a piece of paper that has all the details on it.
Yeah, for the purpose of a PowerPoint, I thought it got really crazy to try to put it all together in one slide. So I'm just doing a quick overview, but I could do more detailed reports later and give you more information about exactly what groups are going into which areas.
No, what about parents that are at home that want to see this? And how would they, is it easy to navigate for a
Yes.
parent to go?
So the website that I had on the slide in red, or you could just even Google California dashboard. It's California School Dashboard, and it'll bring it up to the link, and then you put in Millbrae School District, or you can even put in a school if you wish to look at your own student's school. But it's really easy to just click on. Everything's live, and it clicks, and every time you click on another screen, it just brings you deeper and deeper into the data.
So how reliable do you consider these scores?
You
How
mean
reliable?
like for the testing scores? I'm sorry.
No, not the testing scores, like the actual score, like, you're going to move into the blue. Move into the blue. So we know that the test scores are test scores. Mm-hmm. But how else does everything else factor in to come up with that score?
So the state of California has spent a lot of time researching how best to represent these colors, and there's mathematical equations that they're using in order to justify the changes that happen from year to year within those groups. So I believe that these are very accurate scores.
From our data.
Yes, it's all from our own
So
data.
our data has to be accurate for our
That is
scores
correct.
to be accurate.
That's correct.
So that comes with teachers turning in things on students? Like
So the chronic absenteeism is our attendance, and
Right.
it's how we report our attendance. Suspension rate is how we report our suspensions to in our student data system, and then the test scores for the math and English language arts and the English language proficiency. Those are all test scores that actually get put into a system that the teachers administer the test, but the tests are graded at the state level. So I believe the data is very solid.
Good.
So I'm a little confused in that, okay, so let's just say in 2016-17, we scored in the green. Mm-hmm. Our scores equated to a green. Mm-hmm. Okay, the next year we have the same performance. So we're once again in the green. Mm-hmm. So in the overall improvement meter, where would that show? Would it show us as in the green, or would it show it in yellow and there's been no change?
So the way that the colors are designated, it's like I said, it's a mathematical formula that shows what was your what was your base,
right,
and then what was your growth, and then it's on a grid that has the mathematical equations to show what is considered improvement, what's considered staying the same, right, and what is dropping off or reclining. So you could be in green both years, and it could be either that we've maintained our scores, we might have improved in some areas, but it's not enough improvement to move to a next level, or it could be that we've switched and some of our groups have exceeded and some of our groups have dropped, because it's an overall score for all of the students. That doesn't make sense?
Well, okay, let's just say that it doesn't pass for me the first blush test of transparency. If I'm a parent looking at this, to me it's backwards, okay? I'm just saying this is my impression of it, okay, how it comes off to me, because it's not, normally you're not measuring comparative, you're looking at the absolutes. And then at the end, you say, oh, it represents a move up in the scale or a move downward in the scale.
Right. And I think so if you remember back to our old accountability system, when it was No Child Left Behind, we had two different measures that we were held accountable for. Right. We had the annual yearly progress, which was a federal, and that was the hockey stick, where we had to reach certain measures with all of our groups throughout the year, the subsequent years, to get every student and every student group at 100%. So that was from the federal government. The state of California had the it was the annual performance indicator, and that was their API score, and that used to be the number that we used to get for our schools. So you would have like a 600 for your school or an 800 for your school, and that was based on a growth model, similar to what they've done with these indicators too. They were looking at all of the groups and seeing how they improved from year to year. The state of California believes that it's better to look at the growth model than to hold all students accountable to a certain plateau. So what they've tried to incorporate here is to demonstrate how well we're performing on increasing our different indicators. And I think it's great that they've just gone away from the testing portion of this. They're also looking at other things that create a good education for students, such as suspension rates and absenteeism. No. So this is all brought in now to make it a more true experience of what's going on with these students that we have in our schools. So it is a little bit more confusing, but I think what they're trying to do is clarify that by the color is showing you that the school is performing at a good pace, at a good range. So they're trying to get away from a one number type of thing, and they're just trying to show the overall progress.
I get what you're saying.
Can you go back one slide? I love that illustration in the lower corner. It shows the difference between equality and equity, which are two words that we sometimes get confused. And I just think it's a great symbol of how we've moved from equality to equity in our own district. So I think it's a terrific illustration.
Fema. I chose that symbol to put into this because I think it really enhances or captures exactly what the LCAP's all about. It's trying to put resources where they're needed. So sometimes you might think that, things don't look the same for everyone. It's because all of our students learn differently, and we want to try to get the resources to them that they need to make that achievement. So I thought it was a really good representation for what we're trying to do.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Claire.
That's pretty cute.
Okay. Budget Advisory Committee / Partial Tax. Mr. Rick Champion.
Happy New Year, trustees. It is that time of the year when we start preparing our next year's budget, and we are going to now start up and bring together our Parcel Tax Committee / Budget Advisory Committee. We'll come up with an acronym to make that easier going forward. And also to satisfy the commitment we made under Measure N to have a Citizen Oversight Committee. In the agenda online and in your packets tonight is 3 dates: February 22nd, April 14th, and June 20th are tentatively scheduled for meetings at the district office, 5:30 to 7. And we will also be sending out, we have a list of people that have expressed interest to be part of this committee to join the budget committee participants from last year. And anyone else out there that would like to be part of this committee, the application for board approval is online. Will be online tomorrow. It is part of the online agenda tonight. It'll be, if you'd like to have it emailed, you can contact myself or the district office, and we'll get that out to you.
I see an application on here. There's, I know board members, 2 board members.
There's 2 board members already that are on the committee.
We don't have to fill out the application, do we?
No. You were actually on the committee last year.
Yeah.
So,
well,
no. No, you don't have to.
I was on, Frank and I on the budgetary committee. Okay. Just one.
Board members excluded.
I'm talking about the I'm talking about the parcel tax because it's new.
It was trustee. The 2 committee members were trustee Barbaro and
Talking about
trustee Maga. The budget advisory committee.
Budget advisory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had 2 parents already. Was it Whitney and
Christine Dakota. And then we had a CSEA representative too.
So they stay on that committee,
yes,
right?
they'll be invited back, of course.
Okay. Got it. All right. Any questions? All right.
Thank you.
An action item, right?
No.
Okay. Speakers wishing to address the board on items on the agenda may complete the speaker's card and submit them to the board secretary. Speakers addressing specific items on the agenda will have the opportunity to address the board at the time of the agenda item in the meeting. If you are addressing the board on a non-agenda item, please be aware that the provisions of the Brown Act prohibits the board from acting or discussing such matters at this meeting. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person per topic. MEA. Nope. CSEA. Nope. MEF. All right, Miss.
Good evening, trustees. I am here to give you a very brief update from MEF on our fundraising progress so far this year, and also to formally invite you to join us at the upcoming second annual MEF Gala, which is on March 2nd, 2019. So we are almost halfway through the year at this point, and so far we have raised about $320,000. So we are close to halfway to our goal of raising $650,000 for this school year. So we are very hopeful. We are not counting our chickens before they hatch, but we are having a lot of fun working together with a team of people from all of the campuses in the district and building our next exciting event, which is the upcoming gala. So I have some invitations for everyone who's here, and I'll just hand those out if that's okay. That's it from MEF.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we still doing VIP tables this year?
This is really nice.
Thank you.
Are we? Okay. All right. You're welcome. This is nice. Thank you, Mara.
Just one comment. I love that we now have an MEF Board Alumni Leadership Committee. It shows that we have institutional history, we have some age, and I think it's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to it. Members of the community. Nope. Okay. Trustee comments. Who would like to start?
Isn't that cool?
Don, would you like to start?
Well, welcome to the new year, 2019. I think we're all looking forward to a continuation of the strong start of the school year that we had in the fall. And I want to thank Amara for, using the word fun when we were talking about MEF. And I think that's kind of important when we're talking about fundraising and public support of the schools. I think it's going to be a lot easier for people to want to participate if they think it's fun, if they think it's part of a fun process. I know it works that way for me, and I think the MEF has done a really nice job of, equating their events with fun events. They're not only good for the community, but they're fun to be at. So I think it's like anything else in life, the kids washing the car, whatever. If you can make it somehow fun, it's a lot easier for everybody to go along. And I think that it's not just for this event, but it's really any of our fundraising events, any of our partners, if we can kind of do what we can to make those events, make the process fun for people, I think they'll be more engaged and, want to participate more. So thank you, Mara, for bringing that up. I'm looking forward to another really nice second half of the school year. I think we've got some wonderful momentum built up, and I think we're all looking forward to leveraging it to improving the status of the district.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree with you. Throughout the years, all the PTA events and fundraising, we made it fun, and we made a lot of good friends along the way. So, Frank.
Oh. Well, Happy New Year to everybody. It's really good to start the new year off. And welcome to Mara, our beloved president of our MEF. This is an event that everybody was looking forward to, like in the beginning days of the MEF. of people, getting together. You could raise some money, but you could get together, you could have a good time, you could socialize, and it's happened. It happened last year. It's going to happen again this year. And I'm so proud to be part of this district, to have an MEF like this. Parents that are so solid and so dedicated to making our school district better. So I want to thank you. Thank all of your people that are with you and working with you, and that it's fantastic. It really is. Sorry about the last meeting, December. My wife was a little sick, and I had to run home, and I had to whisper to Dennis and whisper to Lynn and run out the door, but everything was okay. My family's going to take me on a Hawaiian trip next week for a week. They surprised me for Christmas, so it's a vacation I'm looking forward to for 1 week. I'll be away from Tuesday to Tuesday. And we have a big CPR Saturday thing coming up in the Millbrae School District, February 2nd. And I want to thank our Superintendent Vaughn Vapersert and our CBO Rick Champion for really taking control of this event and taking the bull by the horns. And I could see it all coming together now. I see all our participants are now on our latest flyer. It's out on Broadway. It's in restaurants and shops right now. And I'm hoping that our Millbrae school community will come forward, socialize, communicate a little bit, be part of our day. It's going to be a fun event. It's going to have a lot of things going on, a lot of information. A lot of information on our website, I think. I think we're going to get our flyer up there soon. Is it up there, Vaughn?
It will be.
Okay. And so I have a lot of people that are excited. I'm really excited because it's a give back. It's not a fundraiser. It's not a money maker. It's a give back to the community. In Millbrae School District, I'm very proud to be a part of a give back to our community. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope everybody that can attend. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Yes. I'm glad everything worked out for you, because when you left the December meeting, it was my last meeting as president, and I thought you were just upset, and I couldn't stand it. And you never called me beloved, but that's all right. Again, thank you, Maura, for being here and for the MEF. We have an exciting couple of months coming up as far as board attendance at community events. And in the old days, we went to community events just because we wanted to kind of show up. And today I feel so integrated with all of our community groups because now we're going not to ask for money or anything like that, but to thank people for what they've done for the Millbrae Elementary School District. And I'm just so proud of that joint effort that in part is related to the passage of our parcel tax last year. I really feel that it's no longer just the school districts here, the communities here, and once in a while we bump up against each other. I really feel an integrated relationship, and my goal for the rest of my term as a board member is to keep that moving, because you can see the results of it. And I just thank all of our Millbrae community, especially our school community, parents, PTAs, PTOs, our teachers, our volunteers. We could go on forever, but I think we have a really good thing going here, and let's just keep it up.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with all of you. Happy 2019. It looks like there's a lot of events coming up, so I'm trying to put on the pause button or the slow motion because it's going to go really fast. So I just want to remind everybody, if anybody wants to, the basketball season is still going. If you guys want to watch a great basketball games in the Carolyn J. Shea Center, it's been amazing having those games over there. I also want to say that baseball sign-ups are up. Anybody that's interested in playing, please sign up. And also, I just want to brag about our AYSO students. So even though this AYSO soccer is over, but our Millbrae teams was invited to play national in Hawaii this summer. So I'm kind of, yeah. I have to go to Hawaii with my son.
Be supportive, yes.
Yes, anyway. anyway, looking forward to the next half of the year. And Lynn, wherever you are, we miss you. Hope you're having fun. And that's it.
Thank you.
Superintendent.
Good evening, trustees. So far, amazing job, Vice President Musa. I'm sure that President Ferrari will be extremely proud. So tonight, wishing everybody a Happy New Year, 2019. And certainly we are back and we are in full gear, and there are a lot of activities that we have planned, and we're excited for that. 3 big events for us in the Millbrae School District. Yes, we are prepping for 2019-2020. Our registration window is opening January 23rd through February 22nd. For our families out there, you do need to make an appointment with your school sites. These appointments are for all TK and kinder students, as well as brand new students into the district, K through 8th, or TK through 8th. We have a TK Kinder panel event for new families. You're invited to attend. It's on January 17th, which is next Thursday at 6 p.m. We're trying something a little bit different. We're trying a smaller venue. We're trying Spring Valley School just to have more of an intimate and closer venue. Our next event, Trustee Barbaro, you stole my thunder, but I wanted to ensure that we made some clarifications because there have been some inquiries regarding the specific trainings that are going to take place. As Trustee Barbaro stated, we are having a CPR Saturday. It's Saturday, February 2nd, 2019. 8:30 to 12 p.m. In terms of the schedule for that particular morning, the Millbrae Lions has graciously accepted this project, and they certainly are part of the community as well. They're providing a continental breakfast from 8:30 to 9 a.m. at the Carolyn Shea Center. At 9 a.m., we will begin with acknowledgments and appreciations for the vendors that will be there, as well as the folks that we want to honor, the trustee ladies, as well as our Mills High School Physical Education Department. I want to give a shout out to the Central County Fire Department, who has graciously accepted to do some awesome trainings for us. Those were some clarifications that I wanted to make. There are 2 training opportunities that the Central County Fire Department is offering. The hands-on training is 30 to 45 minutes. It's being offered at 10 o'clock. It is just a demonstration of hands-on. And then there is the CPR certification training, which begins at 11:30. And that's about 2.5 to 3 hours. And our Central County Fire Department will be there. We're working alongside Chief, I forgot his last name, but his name is William. He goes by Billy, but he stated that he's going to bring all his fire buddies and whatever is needed by the Millbrae School District. So we send our shout outs and we send a thank you to them. It is a free event. That's been another question that has come up. We do ask that you do register on the link that's provided on the flyer. And yes, Trustee Barbaro, those flyers will be at the school sites. We are making them a little bit bigger than just the regular paper size. And we have seen some of those postings that you've done on Broadway. So thank you for that. Any questions about this particular event?
The CPR certification, is it free to everyone? And do you need to pre-register?
Yes, the link is on the flyer. And depending on the numbers that register from the registration link, we can even take folks who come that day. So if you have friends or visitors, we're trying to secure about 100 mannequins for that morning. We currently have about 44 registered at this point. So it's a give back from us. It's a give back from the county fire department as well. So another point of clarification, there was an ask in terms of age. There was a inquiry. There was a student who is 13 years old. Are they able to partake in the registration process? And I received information from the county fire department. They stated that there's no age limit. However, for 2.5 to 3 hours, it does take full participation, which means they have to pay attention for 2.5 to 3 hours, as well as be able to physically take on a life-size body. So the weight has a lot to do with the certification as well. The LCAP forum engagement process, I wanted to share that with the board. In front of you, trustees, you have this particular document. And the document that we're taking with us to our school sites, this is our commitment. Not only is it mandated by the state of California to engage in the process with our staff, I share this with the trustees because you'll have the opportunity to go through the exact same process as we are with our teachers. And our entire staff across the district. The document that you have before you lists all of the programs and the positions and the personnel, with the exception of district administration and special education, on this particular document. The documents that follow are the specific action and services that the personnel that you see listed on the front page carries out. The dollar amount should be about 80 to 85% of our entire $20 million budget. It is an opportunity for engagement from not only our staff and community, but from you all as well. So this particular document, trustees, is for you to study and to ask questions about and to bring back to our second February board meeting, because we will engage in conversations regarding do we continue these programs? Do we provide more services? Do we talk about elimination of programs? And so this is the document that our staff is engaging in the process, and we will certainly continue this process with the board on February 19th, or the second meeting in February for our board meeting. Looking ahead, here are some important dates for the board to consider. Next Thursday, as we stated, it's a TK Kinder panel for our families at home on the 21st. We have another no school in observance of our Dr. MLK Jr. Day. Our joint board meeting with our foundation, our PTA council, is slated for January 22nd, 6 p.m. at the district office. Spring Valley is holding their winter ball on January 25th. And Green Hills is holding their winter dance and silent auction on January 26th. And these are save the dates that we discussed earlier. CPR Saturdays for sure on February 2nd. February 22nd, we have our Rotary Lunar Dinner Banquet. Saturday, March 2nd is our second annual gala. And Saturday, March 9th is the PCBA annual fundraising dinner. Trustees, that's my update for tonight. Any questions?
I don't think so. Thanks. Consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. All right, district business. Audit report. Sheldon Chavon. Okay. Is that you? Okay.
When my dad came over from Switzerland, they took the accent off the A. So it's hard to pronounce. And of course, let's see if I can get closer to this mic. Put my report there. Okay, perfect. And one here, one there. All right, perfect. Good evening and Happy New Year. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Try not to speak too loudly as I can do that. As you heard as I was walking up, my heritage is from Switzerland, but I don't know how many auditors come from Switzerland. So Maybe some Irish auditors, German auditors, probably. Got those in me too. So June 30, 2018, a little history lesson again. It's my favorite term to say because it reminds everybody what I have to deal with every year as an auditor, and that is I can't keep up. I'm always looking behind, and it's hard to work with current events and current budgets when you're looking at 6-7 months ago, right? And so June 30, 2018, here we go. Going to jump right into it. So really the first slide has to do with the auditing standards, and I always present this so you can see what really I have to follow in regard to a school district audit. And there are 4 basic standards that we follow, the basic auditing standards that you'll have to follow within the United States. And then there's the Yellow Book, which is the governmental auditing standards, and that's specific to a local government. And then you have the Education Audit Appeals Panel Audit Guide. That's not necessarily a standard, it's more State of California saying do this or you're in trouble. And then there's a single audit guide. It's called Uniform Guidance. And Uniform Guidance you have to follow once you spend $750,000 more in federal money, which Millbrae has. And historically, you're right around $1 million each year, I think, at least the last couple of years, in federal expenditures. And you can see why they call it the Yellow Book, right? It's actually a yellow book. We're jumping right into the fun stuff. I said fun stuff, not fund stuff, which I happen to do all the time. Other post-employment benefits, right? So this is a new implementation as of June 30, 2018. We were required to treat this as a change in accounting policy, which means that we have a prior period adjustment in your government-wide financial statements. Now, keep in mind your government-wide financial statements, they're your consolidated funds, adding in long-term assets, adding in long-term debt, some other weird terminology like deferred outflows, deferred inflows to come up with a consolidated government-wide statement. 2 of them, actually. And your other post-employment benefits you'll find in the statement of activities, a prior period adjustment to implement GASB, Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement number 75. So what you'll see is, what I'm presenting in this slide is that you have a liability at June 30, 2018 in your government-wide balance sheet. It's called the Statement of Net Position. You have a liability of $6 million that you did not have before. What you recorded previously was a liability of about $2 million, but it was a different liability. It was a different standard. This new standard is making you record your unfunded actuarial accrued liability, which they now call the net OPEB liability. Had you recorded this liability in the past, say June 30, 2017, it would have been a $5.8 million or $5.9 million liability. So the change is really, you have that impact in the first year of implementation, but going forward, I do not anticipate you're going to have significant changes. These numbers are driven by actuarial studies, so assumptions and discount changes and things of that could change those numbers. It depends on experience, it depends on investments and whatnot. Pensions, always a fun topic. Let's see if my memory's good, right? Millbrae's financial statements at all the 100 audits that I do this year. Your liability, net pensions liability, including STRS and PERS, went up from about $12 million in 2015 to about $25 million in 2018. Right? That's double, more than double. STRS and PERS. Now, the main reason why, I mean, there are a lot of different things that go into those actuarial studies. PERS and STRS have their own actuarials do them and their own auditors, separate auditors, each one. But out of all the different assumptions that they include, the biggest difference is from the change in the discount rates. They both have decreased their discount rates since 2015. PERS was at 7.65. They're now at 7.15. And keep in mind, if you look at their estimate, their original valuation reports that they tell you to pay your annual required contributions based on, their assumptions and discount rates in there are different from what we have in the audit, right? So it's a moving target. So this government-wide presentation we're giving to you, us accountants, us CPAs, we're getting real creative. So we're trying to put something out there that gives the public to look at and give them a sense of what your liability is. And as a result, you end up with these huge numbers. They're 30-year liabilities at least, if not longer. State of California is really the one that's going to bear that burden, but each school districts are bearing that burden right now. So I was slightly off. My memory didn't work. It was 12 million for just STRS, another 2.5 for PERS, so you're at 15, combined at 25 at June 30, 18. So only a $10 million jump, not that much. So the impact, I talked a lot about pensions, but you can see on this slide the impact of your contributions. This has an impact on your fund statements. So in 2015, for example, this actually moves, perfect. 2015, you can see that $316,000 was the contribution that was made during the year. 2018, $502,000. So there's an increase over 5 years. And that same trend, I mean, if you look at your CalSTRS, it went up quite a bit. From 15 to 18. That has a direct impact on your funds, and that's what we're talking about with the budget that you're going to see over the next 6 years. That's going to continue. I think you know what the fund balances look like, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, just so you can see it. These are the audited fund balances as of June 30, 2018, so a slight change. So pretty consistent across the board. Looking at your budget in the audit report, the very first budget that we look at, 2018-19, it shows that you're going to have a slight decrease in fund balance going into 18-19. Not a huge one, but a slight decrease. That's probably changed already. Oh, it didn't come in like I like it. Everything all at once. You get all the good news. There's no anticipation. So there aren't any exceptions in the audit opinions. We do have things that we include in the audit opinion. So if you look at our opinion letters, there's 4 of them in there because we followed 4 standards, right? And the first opinion letter has multiple paragraphs that it did not have 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago because of GASB 68 pensions and GASB 75 OPEB and 63 and 65 and 34. So what ends up happening is you end up in these deficit net positions government-wide. So we have to add information in our opinion, but they're not modifications. It's just information. And we have to say whether or not it impacts our opinion. And so none of that information related to pensions or OPEB has impacted our opinion. So no exceptions. No material weaknesses, no disagreements with management. We can work on that. And then no significant passed-on adjustments. A passed-on adjustment is something where we might find a variance, but it's not material, but it may be significant. Maybe there's a qualitative aspect to it. Maybe compensated absences might be super immaterial, but when you pay somebody, right? And so we did not have anything of that nature during the audit. And you get my stamp of approval. Any questions or comments?
So thank you very much, number one, for the report. So there are a couple items within analysis that I would like a little clarification on, certainly for the benefit of the board, and also for the benefit of our general public. So on page 8, you're talking about, the net decrease, the decrease in our net position by a significant amount. And so from a layman's standpoint, is that more driven by the change in the accounting for the liability for the school district on the pension, or is that really a combination of other factors?
This one here is mostly other post-employment benefits. So this is this is the result of having to implement that new standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, bottom of that same page, you made the comment that property taxes from the prior year were down significantly, which, normally would surprise me. So,
yeah,
why would there be that kind of a decrease in property taxes?
There was actually also an increase in state funding, other state funding. What ended up happening is one of the schools this year in this district, not your district, sorry, in this in the state, I believe, and in this county, there was a shift in the ERAF, right? And when that shift happened, it shifted how the LCFF calculation was done and how that money was dispersed. And so you'll see one go up and one go down.
All right. So it's somewhat of a reciprocal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So then on page 11, So, factors bearing on the district's future. I'd like you to comment a little bit more on that, if you wouldn't mind, because certainly from the financial health, not only of this school district, but school districts throughout California, I think it's important that the average person understands its impact and the challenge that it's going to represent, to the schools, which are not money-making institutions to begin with, how much of a challenge it's going to present in the immediate future and the years going forward.
I'm going to go ahead and ask Rick to take the mic on that one, because that's his part of the report.
I knew that was coming.
Sorry, Rick.
No. Trustee Ravel, these are the common message we've had for years, that our district, as most districts are, in a structural deficit mode. In other words, we're spending more than what we're receiving in. So this is to highlight some of the challenges that are in our future, as bullet pointed in that on page 11, that the LCFF funding model is fully implemented now ahead of schedule, that we are in a coal-only revenue environment. It's just to draw attention to the limitations of what we project and see today, as of today, new increases of state aid that our district is dependent on, and that a lot of the dollars that have been coming to the districts have been in the form of one-time monies. In other words, sometimes in grants or just proposals of mandated costs that were really our money in the past anyways, but they're paying them now through these one-time sources. And it's just to highlight that one-time dollars coming in should only go one time out. Mm-hmm. And reoccurring dollars coming in can be identified as such. So basically to examine and express caution and have the flexibility that we have today by making decisions at our level, than having someone else as a county coming in and dictating certain things as we maintain our positive certification. So, and of course, the last bullet is, of course, as our district increases and we get to that high capacity of classroom space. And as we age, our facilities, that we have to sometimes look internal and external as we plan for the future.
Well, the audit rightly points out on that same page that adequate reserves will be crucial to guard against fiscal volatility. And certainly fiscal volatility is an ongoing issue as far as education goes. But, you've got, I bring that up simply because you've got two opposing forces there. We've got more liability that the district has to somehow find the funding for, yet we're encouraged to have adequate reserves. And in fact, we actually want to have more reserves because, as we've talked about right now, the requirement's only 3%. And 3% represents 2 weeks' worth of payroll for the district. And that, by anybody's standard, that's not adequate reserves. And, so we've talked about getting to a goal of 10%. But I bring that up simply because that's going to be a real challenge. We've got increased outgo, and yet we want to try to build reserves at the same time. And so that's where the community support, MEF, PTAs, this is why we want and encourage the community to try to help us, because this is what we are dealing with. The board, we're trying to be responsible gatekeepers. That's part of what's one of our primary responsibilities, to ensure the fiscal viability of this district, not just this year, not the 3 years, but for many years to come. And whether it's us now or future board members, they're going to have that same challenge. And the only way we're going to meet the challenge is if members of the community understand the scope of the challenge that we face and continue to step up and help, because that's the only way it's going to happen. Otherwise, we're going to end up in the same place that other school districts are in right now, where they're looking at being in a negative position this year, not just next year or 2 years down the road. They're already running into problems. So, again, I only bring this up because it's rightly pointed out in the analysis what it is we need to do and what, our challenge is. But it's also a way of us, informing and educating our community. This is why we want and need, and it's why our kids need the community support. So thank you.
Any other questions?
You said that the school districts are left with this burden, and you said the state will step in later. When do you think the state will step in to help the districts?
It wasn't necessarily that they will step in. Right now, it was more of that it's hard to see 30 years in the future. And it was more of conjecture on my part than anything, in the sense of right now the state does have an on-behalf payment in the STRS pension. And as this liability, if things keep going in this direction, and if, as the trustee just mentioned, you have these issues with your current spending, current deficit issues where you're trying to keep fund balance at a fiscal solvent position annually. So when you compare the two, at some point, you might expect, or you could assume, and assuming it's not the best thing you do, but we do it all the time, and that the state is going to come up with a better plan. Because right now, it's not the best plan, right? So the burden is pushed back on the districts with a little bit of help with the state on behalf, but with CalPERS, you're not getting any type of help. And with the pensions, the OPEB, that's really the one thing you can control as a district. So you do have some more flexibility there, but with the pensions, you're really following a mandate, and you're kind of stuck with it.
This is a great document. It's nice. But I was wondering, is there, for an average person that doesn't, is there a short version? Yeah, a summary, a Cliff Note version of this to kind of show, because, we do have community members, especially when we not for the Measure N bond, they're saying, go get your school district audited. We did have it done. We do have it every year, right?
Absolutely.
So, but I'm just waiting for the average person that just wants a quick look. Is there such thing?
That's what the management's discussion and analysis is supposed to provide. So there's a section in the report, and we were just looking at that. It starts on page 5, and it ends on page 15. Sorry, page 11, page 5 to 11. And that is really what the intent of that document is, to give you a big picture overview of the audit. But the problem is it focuses more on the government-wide than it does the funds. You get some of the fund statements, some of the fund analysis, but not a whole lot. But that's really where I tell board members to go to look. There's a second option, but it doesn't happen often for school districts, is you can issue a 4-page summary financial information. Here's how the district's looking right now, and you can post that on the web. It's unaudited, though. You can make a note that these are from audited information or something, but that's something that was popular about 5 years ago for a lot of cities and special districts, but not school districts necessarily. But that is an option.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Action item?
It's an action item. If there's no other questions, I need a motion to approve the audit report for the 17-18.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, this is a public hearing. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway.
Just wanted to open the public hearing.
Proposed adoption of a developer's fee study and increase of statutory school fee. It's an open hearing public for questions and discussions. Anybody? Staff, members of the audience.
Trustees, today at 2:00 p.m., we received via an email a letter from Berline Cohen LLP. They're the attorneys that represent Republic Millbrae, with a list of questions that we'd like to enter into record, and will be uploaded to the minutes.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any community members? No? All right, I'm closing the public hearing. Thank you very much. All right, Resolution 181907. Rick Champion?
Trustees, in regards to Resolution 18-1907, in the matter of adopting developer fees on residential, commercial, and industrial development to fund construction or reconstruction of school facilities, staff recommends to move this to future board meetings as required to allow the district to respond to the written comment received today at 2 o'clock via an email from the letter that I just mentioned in a previous discussion.
Make a motion that we table this resolution.
Is that a second?
What is it?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. All right, motion carries. Next, Resolution 18-1908. Again, Rick Champion.
Trustees, Resolution 18-1908. This is our annual accounting of developer fees as required. It's a recommended action for approval.
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, motion carries. Next item is action item. Approval of the 17-18 school accountability report card. Claire?
Since November of 1988, the State Department of Education has required all public schools receiving state funding to prepare and distribute school accountability report cards, also known as the SARC. The purpose of the report card is to provide parents and the community with important information about each public school and its effective way to report on school progress and school goals achieved. It is up for approval. The recommended action is that the Board of Trustees approve the 2017-2018 school accountability report cards as they are presented tonight.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Okay. No discussions?
Go on.
Okay. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, motion carries. Okay, item approval of the 18-19 extended school year. Ms. Anita Alvarez.
Every year, the school district must provide 20 days of extended school year in order to maintain skills for our students with significant needs who will take a very long time to recoup those skills if there's a long gap in the education. And the 20 days, the extended school year falls, 4th of July falls within those 20 days. So we are able to request a waiver from the state to lengthen the day of the ESY and reduce it to 19 days so it fits within 4 weeks. And that helps the attendance, because attendance is very low on that single day of 1 week. Helps a little bit with the costs also. And so we would like to have your approval in order to send the waiver to the State Board of Education for approval for a 19-day extended school year.
Thank you. Any questions?
Your recommendation.
Can I get an approval?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, motion carries. That was our last thing. All right, possible future items, agenda items, LCAP, annual mid-year review, emerging programs. Any questions? Anything you'd like to add?
Nope.
Okay.
A moment.
I'd like to add one thing or just bring something up. A couple of years ago, or is it last year, that we had the PE department do a presentation about the curriculum and stuff, and something happened, right? That did we approve it or not? Something happened, Ron. Remind me that it didn't about the curriculum.
There was presentation of a new proposed curriculum, and it was not adopted in terms of a comprehensive process, and so we can bring that back to the board. I'll have our assistant superintendent go through the process with Taylor staff to include the PE department.
Good.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. And also, when we talk about the MEF and we talk about curriculum and 21st century learning, and we talk about music as part of it because we fund the teachers, but we also sometimes we don't talk about the depth of the music and how it's not just teachers. Music is not about just teachers. It's about equipment, and it's about music sheets. It's about instruments. It's about things that that you need to make a good, strong program. So I'm just wondering if we can get an update or kind of talk about have more of a discussion for the community to know and see the background of what happens in the music department. Because I know sometimes we say, oh, we fund the music teacher at the elementary levels, we fund music teachers but we never talk about everything, all the other expenses that we really,
There's a lot.
And there's a lot of expenses. And I know, Dawn, you're involved in the music, and we know as parents we're always constantly trying to fundraise and trying to replace instruments and repairs and all that stuff, and that's costly. So I'd like just something that for us to talk about, and something that possibly that could be whether funded from the school district, or if there is a fund from the school district other than what the parents are fundraising, and also the MEF. So just something to talk about.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, just a quick point to that. What about grants for music? I mean, I've been doing this for a while now. I've never seen a grant come out for our music department ever. Did I miss something? No. We can't write grants for music? Is there grants?
There are. There are. So to answer Vice President Musa's response, we will incorporate the budget component to include supplies to extend in terms of where you'll see that as part of the LCAP process. Similar to materials and curriculum that music teachers or ELA and science teachers need, I agree, music teachers need the same. And so we can bring that as part of the budget item for the LCAP review. So that's one agenda item. What I heard you say is an update from the music department. That would be a separate, because that would require that the music teachers be here. So is that a request as well?
You know what, if they feel comfortable coming talking about their department, that would be great. I mean, if there's a need, I know there's a need, because I know I'm at Mills High School and we're constantly talking about needs. So if there's a need, it would be great if they feel
for us to know, because if you're not a parent, you don't know the needs. Like, I don't understand the needs because my kids never played an instrument.
Yeah.
Yours have.
Yeah.
So you're point on.
Yeah.
So we need to hear that.
Yeah. So again, that's one of the things that a lot of parents, if you're not into music, that you probably don't hear about it.
No, and you make a very good point in that I think even parents that don't have kids in music, there are a lot of parents that understand the value, but they don't understand what's required to have a vital and robust music program. And it's not, as you rightly point out, it's not just having a music teacher. There's a lot of other things that go to make a sound music program that really helps the kids. And so whether you're talking to parents that are involved with music or trying to get involved with music, or just the general public, I think it's important for everybody to understand, hey, it's not just the kids getting up on the stage and playing the music there. There's a lot more that's involved, and that's why, it needs this part of why it needs the support. So thank you.
Right, yeah.
Part of that conversation, grant writing is an art. It's not something where you just fill out a form. And so I think we need to collaborate with our music professionals, including parents and teachers, and see if there are local grants that we could be looking at, and then decide how that's going to be approached. Because grant writing I have some experience with it, and you don't always get it the first time you put it in. You have to develop relationships with funders, and I myself don't know who those funders are, so it might be worth looking into. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Go, girl.
Ooh.
Look at that. Oh, nice job.
He gets a cupcake or something. Huh?